to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Thanks a lot for joining us wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on another beautiful day. My gosh, it's unbelievable. I can't believe this weather. Looking forward to it. Man, a lot going on, a lot on the show today. Couldn't be happier. Again, Angelo Pizzo is going to join us once again. Haven't had him on for quite some time, of course. You know him from Hoosiers, from Rudy. He is a Hoosier. Look forward to talking to Angelo. Scott Agness also on the program today. We got a lot to talk about. Alex Dickerson, we're going to hear from him on he's unbelievably hot streak right now. The man is killing it. Billy Bob Thornton, we'll hear from Billy Bob. Billy Bob has an affinity for Hoosiers. He's got a character on a show, Goliath, which I'll talk about that as well. Lots of other things. None bigger. Lily King was disqualified late last night, early this morning, over in Korea in the World Championships, the FINA World Championships in the 200-meter breaststroke. And I've watched that video 1,000 times. There's no way that they can make this claim. It started, and what the foul was, alleged, was that she did not touch the wall with both hands at the same time. I've watched this video 1,000 times. She just quickly, her left touch is just a minuscule touch, which is fine. But the fact that it took 8 hours after a protest was launched, first of all, it took 30 minutes for USA Swimming to be told what the infraction was even for. What are we, in the 40s? Is this World War II? Are you kidding me? 30 minutes just to be told what the hell the problem was? This stuff is still going on in international sports that blows my mind. At this stage, wow. Shocking to see this kind of crap still going on. But they lodge a protest. Protest is denied. It goes to a jury. And then finally it was the 8 hours. 8 hours. That tells me something. If it takes you 8 hours, then you've got an issue. And man, do they have issues. It started with a judge, not a technical. There's a lane judge on each one. And on her very first turn, this judge claimed that made the allegation. And this is after she wins the heat, no less. She had the third fastest time in the world. I don't know if this will affect. I don't think it has any effect on the Olympics coming up, but nonetheless, it's taking something away from Lily King that she had worked long and hard for. She wanted to sweep, and she deserved that. And the fact that they could do – I know she had spoken out earlier in the week about some things over there. Wouldn't surprise me at all if – wow. I just don't know what to say. That's the biggest load of crap I've seen in a long time. Unbelievable. Wow, it'll really get me fired up right off the start. It pisses me off. It's bull crap. I mean, I cannot believe that this kind of hypocrisy is still going on in international sports in this day and age. It's unbelievable. These people train hours upon hours upon hours for days upon days and months upon months. And to let some jackass standing out of the water make an idiotic call like that, and then for you to take 8 hours to determine you can't determine anything? What a joke. we'll have to keep following that story, but I don't think that there's anything gonna be resolved. I think she's gonna be out of the 200. Yeah, it's what a shame. What a shame. I haven't seen anything like it for a minute. So, Logan Justice, Indiana football player, was put on the Lou Groza watch list yesterday. He is the 5th Hoosier to be named in a preseason award. He's the kicker for Indiana, so he's on the Lou Groza award watch list. He's a 5th-year senior, so it's only a 30-player watch list. He's one of 20 Groza semifinalists in 2018. He finished last year 15 of 18 on field goals, which is 83%, 32 of 33 on extra points. His 15 makes share 8th in school history. He was in a second-team All-Big Ten performer last season. He tied for 19th nationally, so good luck to him. But he's one of 5 Hoosiers that have been named to a preseason award list. Rick was Marcelino Ball, I think, was on there. I'm gonna have to sit here and try to remember them all. I had them all too. Stevie Scott is on two big ones, the 2 biggest ones. He's on the Maxwell Award list and the Doak Walker list. You got Nick Westbrook on the Good Hands list. But the fact that you have 5 players, multiple players, both sides of the ball, named a preseason awards list, that tells you you've had an upgrade in talent. I'll have to go back and research the last time that this many IU football players were nominated. Unbelievable. Tim texts in the show, did you see Pat Graham was getting his signature court like Romeo and George? Yes. He said it would be in Georgetown. It's actually Edwardsville. I think it was at the old Edwardsville Park. Down in Floyd County, Indiana. But yes, I certainly did, and certainly deserving. We're going to hear from Billy Bob Thornton today, since we got Angelo Pizzo on the show, the man that wrote Hoosiers. I saw a picture the other day, and on Twitter that David Anspaugh was in Indianapolis with some other people. That one of them was Jimmy Chitwood, actually the actor that played Jimmy Chitwood. But Billy Bob Thornton was apparently in Indianapolis performing. You know, he's got his own band. So they were out there among some other people, but those two were out there. Angelo is actually in New York right now, and he couldn't make it, but it's pretty cool. So we'll hear from Billy Bob Thornton. He has his favorite movie is Hoosiers. He loves Hoosiers. He has a great affinity for it. He's on a show called Goliath. I think that's on. I don't even know what it's on. I watched it. I love it. Prime, maybe it's a Prime. I don't know. Prime show, but it's a great show. He talks a lot about IU in that show. He's an IU graduate in the show, and he mentions, especially the very first episode, man, talks about IU a lot. We're also going to hear from Alex Dickerson this morning, former Hoosier baseball player, now with the the San Francisco Giants. Went over there in a trade not too long ago from San Diego. His career had been injury plagued. Man, it's like somebody let this genie out of the bottle. He's killing it. I looked at the box score last night. He had been resting, because he's dealing with injuries and whatnot. They gave him a couple days off, but I think he had one plate appearance last night, and he got a hit. That dude's just on fire. It's like, okay, we need a hit. Alex didn't do anything. Let's march Mr. Instant up there. Boom, delivers. Man, when you're off on a rest and they run you in to pinch hit and you get a hit, wow. That's getting her done. Get her done. Man, looking forward to talking to Angelo Pizzo on the show today. It's going to be on. Last time he was on the show, my gosh, it was at that time, it was the longest interview I'd done. We just kept going. The stories, the greatest story that he told that I recall was when him and David Anspaugh were forced to go to Florida to meet with Burt Reynolds because the studio wanted a name for the coach. That's right. Burt Reynolds was almost Norman Dale, which would have worked, I'm sure, but it would have been a sure different deal. But they didn't want Burt Reynolds, and I don't know if he'll tell this story again, but so they decided before they went down, they were going to tank the interview on purpose. And so they were proceeding with that course of action, and Burt Reynolds was so pissed off, he was trying to get David Anspaugh to go outside and fight. Apparently, per Angelo, the last time he was on. So, looking forward to talking to him and see what else he's got. Where I know he's working on a new project. He's in New York right now. So, looking forward to talking about that. Lots coming up on the program today. Appreciate you joining us. We're going to get to it all. Stay tuned. We're back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Tell you it's all in the way you feel. If love is real, come to me.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle, and we do have the Dream Weaver with us, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. Matthew, how are you, brother?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Good. Recovered from our trip to Chicago.
Yeah. It was a fun day.
Yeah, man, it was hot. I can't believe how hot it was. Luckily, we were inside most of the time, but my God, it was like Hades on Earth up there last week. It was unbelievable hot, especially with the weather we're having now.
Yeah, last week was brutal. I think pretty much across the country, but last few days seems to be a lot better, at least around here. So that's nice. Hopefully it won't be too hot once fall camp starts in a few weeks.
No bombshells this year at the Big Ten Media Days, although we have the customary Michigan, Ohio State things. I thought it was funny that when Harbaugh was up on the main stage the first time, the big stage, the majority of his questions were coming from the Ohio State media.
Yeah, it's, that's, I guess it's not surprising, but, and I know he made some comments about Urban Meyer, I think the day before he was at the podium on a radio show or something like that, and about controversy following him around or something. But, obviously Harbaugh's been a winner, and they've had some success at Michigan, but when a guy's owned you like Urban Meyer's owned him, it might be better just to kind of keep your mouth shut and not say anything.
Yeah, but I don't think that's his style, man. But a lot of great. This was Tom Allen's third trip as the head coach for Indiana, and probably without a doubt, he's in the best situation he's been in since he's been there as the head coach, as far as what he's got to look forward to this year. Even though he plays an unbelievable tough schedule, I think that they have good things coming.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think it's. Not only has there been growth in the program in the 3 years, I think, just him as a coach, I think he seems more comfortable as the head coach at Indiana, which is understandable. He was kind of thrust into that role, obviously, really unexpectedly and not really had any kind of warning at all. So it's something he kind of had to learn on the fly, and that's tough to do. Even at a school at Indiana where there's obviously not a ton of national attention, but still it's a Big Ten school. I think he's really grown, and he seems a lot more comfortable just doing all these kind of head coaching things that are not really coaching. And then as far as, like you mentioned, the team and the roster, he's got his staff together. He's got, for the most part, his team. A lot of the roster. I mean, if you look at the roster of the scholarship players, I think there are 80 or 81 scholarship guys after some attrition. I think it's like 20, maybe like 23 or something like that, or juniors and seniors. So this is still a pretty young roster, but it's got a lot of experience because so many guys played last year as freshmen and redshirt freshmen. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic with this team. It's young, but still kind of experienced.
Yeah, the biggest issue with Indiana under Tom Allen, as he has said many times, has been depth or the lack thereof, and that's one of the things that he's really been working on to get rectified. That rule change last year, being able to play those freshmen in 4 games without burning a year, has been a godsend to a program like Indiana, because, like you said, they've got a ton of guys that got experience last year, but they're still young, and there's no better explanation of that than at the quarterback position. I mean, you've got Peyton Ramsey, a guy that's got a couple years experience under his belt, but Peyton or Penix and Tuttle, both freshmen in their freshman year, and it's going to be a great battle in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Penix didn't get a ton of snaps last year, but at least he got a taste of it. I mean, he played in 3 games or something like that, and one of them was obviously against the Penn State team that's is going to have as good athletes as he's going to see all year. It wasn't, like I said, a huge sample size, but still, it was better than nothing. He got a feel for the speed, and obviously, was doing some good things in that game and in some of the other games he played in. So, and then Tuttle, obviously, really highly regarded out of high school, and he's probably got a little bit more rust just because didn't really just practice at Utah for part of the season before leaving, and hasn't had any game action since he was in high school. But obviously, the physical abilities are there, and it's going to be an interesting position battle. I mean, it was the depth chart that they put out was Peyton Ramsey or Michael Penix or Jack Tuttle. So nothing says it's as clear as mud than that.
It certainly has. I mean, and Tom Allen has talked about the fact that Peyton Ramsey's the incumbent and that they have to beat him out. But you can kind of tell he knows that this is just that he has no idea who the quarterback's going to be, and understandably, because he hasn't really seen them perform together, healthy and ready to go in a situation like that we'll see in fall camp.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, I mean, on our board, we've had, some people have wondered, why we, because, there's obviously some people who are wanting a quarterback change and a different quarterback than last year. And why is Peyton Ramsey the starter? Well, he has to be the starter right now. I mean, he's the only guy that started any game, so it's understandable that he's the starter. But it's in pencil. I think that's what I would tell people. It's in pencil. This has not been, etched in stone. And there's the fall camp is really going to be, and it was good to hear that Michael Penix is 100% cleared, which wasn't a surprise. But until you hear it, it was, you kind of wonder, was there any setbacks? Did he have anything that kind of, went sideways as far as his rehab? But he's 100% cleared, which means he'll be able to do everything that all the other quarterbacks can do come the first day of practice, and there won't be any limitations put on him or anything like that. So that was good to hear, because we didn't really get to see. We got to see him last fall and last spring, but not obviously this spring with the new offense and Kalen DeBoer and all that stuff. So be interested to see where he's at. If there'll be a little bit of rust, but he's such a talented kid. He works hard. He's just really, he's good football IQ. I can't imagine it'll take him too long to get up to speed and be right there, battling for that starting job.
Yeah, Coach Allen was on the show with us last week at the Big Ten Football Media Days, and when he first announced that Penix was healthy and ready to go. So it wasn't a shock, but like I said, looking forward to that, because there's not been a time where they've all been healthy and all together. So it's going to be interesting. But that's going to be I know that's going to be an unbelievably tough decision for Coach Allen, not just for picking the quarterback, but if it's not Peyton Ramsey, I know that he's going to feel angst about that, because I'm sure there's loyalty there for him being there the last couple of years and playing through some situations that were probably not optimal. But he, at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for the program, and that's what they get paid to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know Peyton Ramsey's obviously a popular guy in the locker room, but listen, these guys want to win, and maybe that can happen with Peyton Ramsey. So far, the last couple of years, obviously it hasn't. But at the end of the day, it's about wins and losses. I mean, this is Power 5, high level Big Ten football, and so like you said, from a personal standpoint, it could be tough. But I'm sure Coach DeBoer, Coach Allen they'll do what's best for the team, and then if it's Peyton Ramsey, it'll be him. If it's Michael Penix, it'll be him. Or if it's Jack Tuttle, that's who they'll go with. And the other guys will have to. You would expect them to be team players, which I wouldn't have any doubt that they would be. And everybody will rally around that guy and go out there and try to win some football games. But yeah, I think it personally would be tough if it's not Peyton Ramsey. But like you said, you got to do what's best for the program and for the team, and what you think will give you the best chance to get to, the 6-7+ wins that you need to get back to a bowl game.
There's a lot of optimism by a lot of people for heading into the season with good reason because of all the things that are going on. I think this offense, I don't even know how good it can be. You've got a new offensive coordinator and all these new parts that we've talked about. But for Hoosier fans to give them some sense of a measurement here, I was somewhat surprised that almost of all the preseason picks, and preseason picks are, let's face it, they're not worth the paper they're written on. But Indiana's been picked fifth by virtually everybody I've seen in the Big Ten East. Obviously, not only the toughest in the league, but it's one of the toughest in the country. And you look at a Purdue team who, all that talk about that vaunted offense and all that, they're picked to finish sixth in the West. So it should give some Hoosier fans a little confidence of the program that they have this year.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting, that's not a surprise to me that Indiana's fifth. I mean, I think most years, probably every year, unless they really, go on a roll where they start beating some of these teams, they're always going to be probably picked behind those four schools that we talk about. And maybe, going forward, who knows, with the other two, but Purdue dropping to six, I guess, was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, I thought they would be in that maybe 4 to 5 range, but, 6 I thought was, it is a little bit surprising, but, they do have great skill players. There's no doubt about, starting with Rondell Moore, and they got, I apologize, can't remember his name, but really great tight end and some freshman wide receivers they brought in. But their O-line has to be rebuilt. Jeff Brom and that staff is great at designing plays and calling plays and all that. But, if you can't block it, you can't run it. So, and if they can block it, they'll be pretty good offensively. It's going to be interesting. I think they may, at least early on, they're going to have to really probably lean on their defense. They got one of the best D tackles in the country, Lorenzo Neal and Marcus Bailey at linebacker. So, they're going to have to kind of lean on that defense, which is probably a bit unusual for Jeff Brom. But if he gets the offense around, they'll probably still be there at the end and have a pretty good season.
Indiana's season starts off with a couple of non-conference games. Of course, they kick off things at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis on August 31st against Ball State. And then they have another non-conference game. But then they start Big Ten play a little earlier. Ohio State comes to visit a little sooner than normal. Normally they get the 3 games out of the way. Any effect on how the season goes, you think, with that moving up and playing not only a conference game that soon, but one of the conference games?
No, I mean, to me, I think if I, was it 2 years ago, the games were, I think they started with obviously Ohio State, but then they were kind of stacked right one after another. To me, I think it's better to have them spread out a little bit, when you're facing those teams. And, listen, when a team is more talented than you and deeper than you, it can kind of wear you out. And if you have to play teams, if you have to go, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, maybe not consecutive weeks, but maybe you play those 4 in a 6-week span or something like that. It's really that's where it can really take its toll. That's why depth, Coach Allen has been harping on, depth is so important. And they've obviously done a much better job of getting there. So, I with a new staff, a new quarterback, the changes at Ohio State, I would prefer to play them earlier if I was Indiana, because you would think if the staff is as good as everybody thinks it is, and Ryan Day is as good as everybody thinks he's going to be, they'll probably be rocking and rolling halfway to 2/3 of the way through the season. So I think I would rather catch them earlier in the year than later. But the game, you have to play them all. They're all those Big Ten East games. For the most part, are going to be tough. It's a murderer's row schedule. So, I think the schedule sets up pretty well. They got 2 bye weeks, which is unusual because somehow the way the calendar is, it's a longer year. And IU's bye weeks fall. They're pretty evenly spaced out, which is really nice. So to me, the schedule from that point of view and kind of how it sets up is pretty favorable. Obviously it's a tough schedule, but I think, I don't think you could have drawn it up much better if you're going to do it yourself as far as how you'd lay it out.
Something that I think a lot of us have not completely forgotten about, but it's just kind of snuck up on us. Starting September 1st, people can bet on college football and everything else, but the betting is starting, and it's slowly just kind of sneaking up on people, I think. But it's going to be here soon.
Well, people can bet legally starting September 1st.
Yeah,
I think there's already betting going on, but yeah, you're right. It's I saw a tweet, I think it was from the Indianapolis Star or something, about they were listing what you can bet on and where you can go in the Indianapolis area to place those bets. I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be a mobile app, but it's not going to be out I don't think it's going to be out for a few more months. I could be wrong on that. I haven't paid a ton of attention to it, but yeah, it's, it's always kind of been there. And now it's kind of being brought to the forefront with obviously sports gambling being made legal in different states. And, it seems like it's just going to keep coming and coming. So, I think it's probably what's going to happen is things are going to have to change as far as how you do the injury reports. I know that's already been talked about because obviously in the NFL, it's real clear and concise. You have to list guys. If you don't, you can get in trouble for it. In the NCAA, they play the game. I mean, they kind of hide it and because they don't have to, and I wouldn't either. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't say who was hurt or who was healthy or anything. I wouldn't tell anybody. But I think going forward, obviously this becomes legalized nationwide, you're probably going to see some kind of a change where schools have to be a little bit more forthcoming with their injury reports and all that. That to me, that's where it'll probably change the most. And as far as everything else, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. People start rooting for Indiana to give up a touchdown late so they can get the spread or the over under. I don't know, even if they're winning or losing. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that's something Jim Harbaugh is looking forward to. I think he'd already kind of alluded to. He's one of those guys that definitely plays any and every game he can possibly play. Yeah, it's weird, man. You look at late in October or November or whenever possibly, you could be sitting in Memorial Stadium making a bet while you're drinking a beer legally, all legally. That's how fast things are changing. It's crazy.
Hell, welcome to the 21st century.
I'm telling you, man, it's amazing though. I mean, most people would have never, a year ago, they probably thought, man, it's going to be forever before they'll ever have beer in Indiana. Not only are you going to have beer, you can sit there and have a beer and make your bets probably this fall sometime. It's mind boggling.
I would advise them making your bets before you start partaking in the adult beverages, but that's just me.
Good point. Great point, man. I know we're getting close to kickoff and fall camp starts on the 2nd. What do you got? What are you working on right now that the people need to see?
Well, I just put a story out this morning. Actually, the dead period ends today. So starting tomorrow until the end of the month. So basically there's literally a 7-day window. Schools can have visitors. Now coaches can't go off campus to see guys, and it's not official visits because the official visits can't start back up again until after, I think it's September 1st of a guy's senior year. But there's some visitors coming, and I got those in the store. I got some linemen, a guy from Virginia, and big lineman from Michigan, and another one from Missouri, and then receiver from down at South Florida, same high school as Noah Pierre, DN from Missouri, and kind of a DN tight end from down in Georgia. So I got some good guys coming in. Another thing that's coming up this weekend on Saturday, Jonathan Dennis, the 4-star lineman from down in South Dade High School in South Florida, will be making his decision. Indiana's right there in the mix. Miami's in there, Louisville. Those seem to be the main schools. Oregon's kind of in there, but more on the periphery. But it'd be a huge pickup. He's an interior lineman, but it'd be a heck of a pickup for Indiana, big time at a position where obviously it's really tough to get top-notch players. So they've done a good job. They got some of those South Florida kids working behind the scenes on him. So we'll see what happens, and then I'll start doing some probably position previews here in the next few days, about a week out before fall camp gets going.
He is Matt the Dream Weaver from Pigs.com. He's got all the information you need right there. You can find it. Matt, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
You bet. Matt Weaver from Pigs.com with all you need to know about Indiana football. Hey, we've got plenty more right here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tea time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat Jim Coyle with you as always on this unbelievably Chamber of Commerce weather beautiful day. Man, I am seething here about this Lily King thing. Not just the Lily King thing, the fact that she was disqualified. I've watched that video I don't know how many times. I don't know how in the hell they can even dispute it after like 30 seconds. But it took them 8 hours. It took them 30 minutes to tell Team USA what the infraction was for in the FINA World Championships. Now, conveniently, the day before, Lily King spoke out about FINA's anti-doping efforts and how they're handling it, saying that Sun Yang is winning a lot in the pool and catching plenty of flack from his competitors. Guess where Sun Yang is from? This event is taking place in South Korea.
Also, guess who conveniently sat in 16th place, hoping to be moved up to the finals if a DQ came through, and yet it did, and the South Korean swimmer moves up. Yes, folks, this stuff goes on in international sports to this day. The fact that they can brazenly take down the top female swimmer in the world with wow. Yeah, we're talking about Korea, so what do you expect? I'm pissed. So there's that. Tell me you can I've watched the video. I don't need it. It's a bunch of crap. I can't believe that in this day and age they can still get away with stuff like that. It blows my mind. Unbelievable. But that is, we'll talk about that more in the next hour. But that is what it is, unfortunately. Hey, something I want to talk about that. Where's the stupid? I can't find it. But Gabe Bierman, of course, a pitcher for Indiana University, lost his father last season. Gabe was a freshman pitcher at the time. Dougie Bierman from Southern Indiana was only 49 years old. And but they have a golf scramble coming up in an effort to defray costs. Just, you can imagine. The income for that family wiped out. So they're trying to do what they can. The Bierman family has put together a golf scramble that's going to take place at Valley View Golf Course. And I can't find the stupid flyer. It's disappeared from my page that I had it on. I'll pull that up for the next hour. We're going to post that on social media, of course. I just can't believe that thing just disappeared. But it did. That's unbelievable. But I'll have to pull that back up and find that. We're going to hear from Billy Bob Thornton in the next hour. We're going to hear from Alex Dickerson, who is absolutely on fire for the San Francisco Giants, a former Hoosier baseball player that is just killing it. Zion signed the richest shoe deal ever for a rookie. No surprise there. Nancy Iglesias, a women's basketball coach, 60-year-old women's basketball coach, former head coach at Boston College, Vermont, Rhode Island, was recently hired as an assistant at Hofstra, passed away after a week after she fell, had a head injury. Very sad note on that. So our condolences out to her family. Phil Steele's got his movers and shakers, his new list out of who's getting the most improved. Last year, he picked Florida to be the most improved. They went from being 4-8 to a top 10 finish. His number two big mover he picked was Utah State. They were 6-7 the previous season. Last year they went 10-2. How about number 3? The biggest mover of all was Georgia Southern. They went from 2-10 to 10-3 with a bowl win. When you see Indiana playing teams like this, Georgia Southern, I think Georgia Southern was on the schedule 2 years ago, weren't they? So Indiana caught them at the right time. It's on an ESPN thing, but it's in one of those pay deals, and I don't have it, so I didn't see the rest of the list. I was looking forward to it. He's got Nebraska sitting at the top this year. So he's been pretty dead on with these, so there's no reason to think that he's going to miss with this one. So if you're a betting man and you're wondering who's going to win the Big Ten West, right now Nebraska, who has been picked, is that team. Unfortunately for Indiana, they're catching them on the way up. The Hoosiers will visit Lincoln this season. That's going to be another tough game for Indiana. We'll see how that turns out. But Nebraska picked by Phil Steele to be the biggest mover and shaker turnaround team coming up for this upcoming season. Man, I'm going to have that resent to me. And I'm sending a text right now to get that done. I want to make sure I get that information out to you. It's coming up pretty quick. It's in August, I think August 13th, but I don't want to have that wrong. Put a team together. It's obviously for a great cause, but there's 2 children in the family, and this is going to help with college expenses, all the things the family needs. But we'll get that out to you here in just a second, and I'll have that posted on social media as well. But I'm looking forward to talking to Angelo Pizzo today, man, on the program. You know him from Hoosiers, Rudy, My All-American. 2 of my favorite sports movies of all time. Obviously, Hoosiers number 1. Rudy's up there, though. Rudy's pretty good. One guy's responsible for that. Both stories, of course, based in Indiana. Very cool. But everything's real stories. That's the great thing about it. They're awesome stories, and they're real. But looking forward to talking to Angelo. Looking forward to talking about what he's got going on now. Scott Agness, of course, from The Athletic, will join us as well. Talk about the doings, comings, and goings right now of the Pacers and the NBA. But I'm just miffed about the Lily King thing. Of course, no, she's twice as pissed. But you know what happens when you piss Lily King off? It usually doesn't end well for those around her in the pool. Efimova, got her at the Olympics. Well, she woke that sleeping giant, and Lily King has proceeded to dominate her ever since. I mean, this has nothing to do with Efimova, but it's just when you piss Lily King off, it doesn't usually work out for you too well. Is this a case where being outspoken and trying to do the right thing for her sport has cost her? Because just days before this, she spoke out against FINA. And then you add to that the fact that the swimmer that benefited from this is a Korean swimmer. Of course, conveniently. Man, this is not 1972. How is this going on in 2019? I mean, I see this and I think about the Russian basketball game back in the 72 Olympics where America was screwed out of the gold medal there. They have to go to great lengths to do this. They did that. They had to go to great lengths to do it in 72 and here again as well because I've seen the video. Some guy that's not even in the damn pool is making this decision that leads to this? Come on. Give me a break. How can this not be, in this day and age, how can they not have the technical processes in place for the touch? Especially when this is going on in an area of the world that does quite well with developing technology. Samsung is based in Korea, but they can't tell you with technology about the touch? Really? You need a guy who's standing outside of the water, looking through water to determine this? Really? That's what you're relying on? I want to know where this judge was from. What's his nationality? What a load of crap. I mean, I spoke about this, I think yesterday. No, the effort these athletes put in, it's beyond comprehension by most people. It far exceeds what somebody would do daily for their job. The training that goes into this, the sacrifice of your life. Of course, you're competing as a competitor, but you're representing your country. And that's what happens. These countries that don't achieve anything do so by stealing it, by taking it away from those that do when they have the slightest little bit of power. If you're going to tell me that right after she speaks out against FINA and they do this, and the fact that a Korean swimmer is the one that benefited where this is being held is all just a coincidence, yeah, I got something to sell you. It's what a travesty. What a travesty. I hope that this has no effect, and I don't think it will, on the upcoming Tokyo Olympics, other than Lily King going there and kicking everybody's ass in the pool. That will, whoo. I'm telling you, man. I hope she wipes them all off the face of the planet at the Olympics. Of course, I hope that anyway, but now it's revenge, baby. It's revenge. And this stuff happened because of the time. This was going on. Mostly people were not aware of this. Most people are still not aware of this, probably. It's going to be a slowly seep out thing, but by the time it finally gets out, it's too late. You can be outraged, but those places don't care about outrage. We've seen international sports. We've seen all the corruption that goes on in the Olympics, the bidding, soccer. It seems like there's no oversight in international sports. If you're the host country, do whatever you want. If someone speaks out against your organization, let's screw them. It's unbelievable what they can get away with. But they did. So there's that. That's my rant for the day. Man, I haven't been on a rant for a minute. Well, that one's got me mad. It's just aggravating. I was following it late last night into the early morning. And the fact that it took 8 hours for this to be resolved. 8 hours. It took 30 minutes for them to even tell Team USA what the infraction was for. Really? A half an hour? Can you imagine watching a baseball game and there being a call at first base and the umpire not making a call but sending or making a call? A controversial call, and the manager comes out and they just stand there and ignore them and don't tell them what it's for, what happened for 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes later, they come back with some bogus crap. Well, that's what happened. Hey, we got a lot to get to on the program today. Angelo Pizzo's with us. Can't wait to talk to him from Hoosiers. Scott Agness from The Athletic as well. We're going to hear from Billy Bob Thornton and Alex Dickerson as well. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat. Back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Green. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this absolutely gorgeous Thursday. Wow, what a great day outside. Looking forward to getting out there today. Got a lot of, I got to play a lot of golf this weekend, which it sounds like
Oh, a little too bad. But, yeah, it is because I suck. So I have to play 3 days with a great group of guys. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not because I'm like, wow, this is not – because it's only scramble on the third day, which means the first 2 days are going to be miserable for me. But thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going. We appreciate you, Indiana Sports Beat here. We got a lot to get to on the show today. Angelo Pizzo from Hoosiers, grateful to have him back on the show. You know him from Hoosiers, from Rudy, from Mile American. He's got some other things going on, but always looking forward to talking to Angelo. He's a great Hoosier and a great supporter of the Indiana Hoosiers. Also on the show today, Scott Agness from The Athletic. Look forward to talking to him because I got a lot to talk about. None bigger than Lily King being disqualified at the FINA World Championships over in Korea last night or this morning. A very controversial issue, as it should be. To me, she's got screwed. But, wow, go back and look at the video. She was disqualified by a lane judge who's a judge. He's standing outside looking through water, and in a split second, he makes this call that she did not touch the wall with both hands at the same time. I've watched the video 1,000 times. I'm like, I don't know what the hell he's looking at. Coincidentally, FINA, the governing body FINA, she spoke out against a day or two before in regards to a Korean swimmer who apparently is doing very well all of a sudden and catching a lot of flack from people. Basically, she's saying he's probably doping. She's been a huge crusader for the anti-doping movement. And it's probably cost her here because that Korean swimmer that she talked about, this is taking place in Korea. On top of that, the swimmer that benefited from her disqualification and getting moved up to the finals, of course, is Korean. Yeah, it's all coincidence. That's all just coincidence, right? Yeah, whatever. I'm shocked. I'll talk to Scott Agness about that later on, but it's just unbelievable. Alex Dickerson with the San Francisco Giants, former Hoosier baseball player, is absolutely killing it, man. He was traded to the Giants from the Padres not that long ago. And his career's been kind of beset by injuries, but man, oh man, is he on fire. He is hitting the ball well and continues to do so. Ran across a piece that this is not only Alex Dickerson, Madison Baumgart, I think, a pitcher for the Giants, and Bruce Bochy, the manager. Hear from all three of those guys here. But first up, this is Alex Dickerson, former Hoosier baseball player, followed by those two.
How you feeling? Not too bad. I'll be sore. Oblique area, though, we cleared it up. Didn't feel that at one time. Tired day, so however many innings we did play, I don't even know. But they're always tough on your body, and you got to bounce back tomorrow. But overall, I feel pretty good.
Was there a possibility you were not going to play tonight, or even?
No, I was playing. I was playing tonight. If I wasn't going to be able to go, we were going to possibly think the IL route, but did a lot of work in the training room yesterday. Made some adjustments to my right lat and loosened that up, and it took a lot of pressure off my side. So just one of those things where going through the season, it's my first time doing this in 2 years, and little things pop up here and there, and you just kind of figure out how to adjust on the fly, and it loosened it up. Felt pretty good today.
Does it hurt in the field too, or is it mostly the torque?
No, it was there was a couple throws in some areas down, but it was just tight in general, so I felt it all the time. But like I said, it was just one of those things you had to kind of analyze. Okay, I've been doing all this stuff for my back, my elbow, and that was still going pretty well. And then all of a sudden, my side got a little sore, and just had to figure out, okay, what's causing that. And I think we kind of determined it was that tight right lat area, somewhere I hadn't really worked on before because I'm so focused on the left side with my throwing arm.
How about Dickerson can continue this
Yeah, it's incredible. He's, I always thought he was a good player, but just shows what he can do when he gets a chance to play. I think in San Diego's kind of, had a hard time getting him in there, and but man, since we've got him, he's been awesome.
Boy, big at bats there. No, he looked good. He felt so much better today, and he'll be off tomorrow and with the day off. But with what he was going through. To go out there and do that against a tough pitcher is really, I thought, impressive and good game for him.
That was Bruce Bochy, the manager of the San Francisco Giants, preceded by Madison Baumgart, a pitcher, talking about Alex Dickerson. Of course, the first one there was Alex Dickerson. So a great year. He's having an all-star second half of this season. Hopefully that continues for him. Wish him the best. So we'll keep up with him. Hey, before I forget, I want to make sure that everybody's familiar, as a Hoosier fan, you should be, with the story of Gabe Bierman, freshman pitcher for Indiana University. Great season for Gabe. Went to Jeffersonville High School. A lot of guys from Floyd Central know him. His dad, Dougie Bierman, great guy, pitcher for Floyd Central back in the day as well. But sadly passed away unexpectedly this during the baseball season this year. Would have been 50. But Gabe has a sister as well, both now without a father that's provided an income. So they're doing the Bierman family has put together a great deal, a golf scramble and a GoFundMe page. I'll have all that information for you, but the golf scramble is going to take place kind of quickly. It's August 16th down at Valley View Golf Course. They're in Floyd Knobs, if you're in Southern Indiana. And I hope 1,000 people come from wherever. But that's going to be on August 16th. And I'm going to post all this as well, but if you want to play, you can contact Shannon, and I'll give the phone number here. It's 502-306-8914, 502-306-8914. Shannon, you can reach out to her, or Bierman, Bierman 1006 at gmail.com. Bierman 1006@gmail.com. I'm going to post all this as well, but let's help the Biermans out. Great kid, unbelievable. I can't imagine having to go through that. Going to college is tough enough. Being a freshman in college is tough enough. Being 19 years old is tough enough. This throws a lot of weight on that. So let's try to take some of that weight off, and I'm going to do a lot more posts with this on social media. You can reach a lot more people a lot more quicker, but just want to make sure I'll be talking about this a lot more. I'm going to be down there as well. We're going to see who all we can get down there, but look forward to that. Let's be a part of that, Hoosier Nation. We appreciate you. On the program today, Angelo Pizzo. Like I said, I cannot wait to talk to Angelo. He's been on before, but see what he's up to now. But always has great stories. One of those involves Billy Bob Thornton, who's on a show now. Of course, you know him from so many things. He's one of my favorite actors. I just like him in everything. Tombstone is one. Loved him in Tombstone. One of my favorite lines we say all the time. It's like playing cards with my brother's kids or something. But he's on a show now called Goliath. I think that's a Prime show on Amazon Prime. But I've watched it. I've seen the whole thing, but I think they just completed season 2. His character is an IU. He's a lawyer, but he's an IU grad, and he talks about Indiana in the show. He so many references, Hoagie Carmichael, and there's all kinds of things. He's trying to get his daughter to go to IU. It sounds like me, but in the show, I've also seen him on interviews, and he was just in Indianapolis the other night, I think. And David Anspall, the director of Hoosiers, was there. Jimmy Chitwood was there. I saw a picture. Very cool. He's got his own band. Billy Bob does. But here's a clip of Billy Bob talking about his influences and his affinity for the movie Hoosiers.
And so, interestingly enough, and this one hit me because I'm such a huge fan of the film, your character, Billy McBride, plays somebody who's once had a huge amount of success, now down on his luck, trying to come back by beating a Goliath.
Right.
And the through line in all this is the movie Hoosiers and Coach Norman Dale and the speech that is given prior to the game against, the big, huge Goliath that Milan was taking on about the David and Goliath, the Philistine, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
That spoke to me. I wonder if it spoke to you when you read that in the script.
Absolutely. And came about, it actually wasn't in the script. What was there was my backstory that was given to me by one of the producers, who was that I'd gone to the University of Indiana.
Right.
And so once I had that, Hoosiers is one of my favorite movies and my favorite sports movie. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to throw something in every now and then about Hoosiers. And there are a couple of times when I'm actually watching Hoosiers on my laptop in the series.
Yes,
you know what
right.
I mean? And kind of like mouthing the words along. And in real life, I know it too, like every scene. And we were talking backstage about how no matter how many times you watch Hoosiers, you're always nervous. You're always afraid they're going to lose. And, you know, I talk back to the movie still. I've probably seen it 500 times.
Me too.
Just over and over, I've seen that movie.
So this was your idea? Let's get the movie Hoosiers involved in the show?
Yeah, the Hoosiers part was. The Indiana part was already there.
But let's use the film. Let's use the speech.
Sure.
There's not a week that goes by in my life, Billy Bob, and I'm serious here.
That was Billy Bob Thornton with Rich Eisen talking about the influences of Hoosiers, affinity for Hoosiers. Looking forward to talking to Angelo Pizzo next when we come back here on Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number. alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle with you as always, and I could not be any happier to have the great Angelo Pizzo with us, man. How you doing, Angie?
I'm doing great, thanks.
How things are going? How's your summer been?
Excellent. Working on a lot of really interesting projects, and finally survived the deluge of rain and the heat wave, and things are good. I'm actually in New York, in Long Island now, meeting with some folks on a project.
Yeah, the weather in the Bloomington area was just rainy all spring. Right now that you're gone, yep. Angelo, this is Chamber of Commerce weather, man. It's like 72, no humidity. Yeah. But up in New York, what are you working on currently?
This project is I can't tell you who the director is, but it's a well-known big-time director, and his team asked me to write a movie that revolves around fire horses in New York City at the turn of the century, before fire engines became mechanized. Wow. It's a great story. They wanted a lot of emotionality to it, and this group all wrote down some movies that they loved, and the one movie that was consistent on every one of their lists was Rudy. So they contacted me and flew to Bloomington and presented me the story, and I signed on. So that's why I'm here, and I start writing that project probably sometime in the next month.
It's not surprising at all that Rudy was their favorite movie. So, because when it comes to sports, two of my favorite movies, of course, Hoosiers and Rudy, and the fact that came from one guy.
The lists were not relegated to sports. They wanted to. So they challenged their team to write lists of the movies that made you cry, and nothing to do with sports. So Rudy was the only one that made it to all the lists on the movies that made you cry. So that's how I got the call.
That's what I was going to say. It's amazing because it didn't sound like a sports movie, but the fact that they're able to pull out the theatrical, they can see. That's what they see that us normal people don't see. But the great theatrical part of that. But when I think of horse-drawn carriages and the fire in New York, I'm thinking of Gangs of New York, which is one of my favorite movies as well. I love that era. That was an amazing time.
Yeah, I mean, the turn of the century, the Gilded Age, was a fascinating time. Gangs of New York was a little before that. But, this is not going to be a small-budget movie. It's going to be pretty big, but I think these people can handle it and get the money for it. So that's down the line. My job is to write the best script I can and then let the chips fall where they may.
And I know that people may think of Angelo, they may think of sports movies, but it's not really about the sport. It's the story within both Hoosiers and Rudy. It's the story within those movies, and it really
well, it's always the characters and the stories and how relatable they are to people who don't have an interest in whatever the particular subject matter is or idea. I can't tell you how many people have come to me up to me about a movie like Rudy and say, well, I'm not into sports. I'm not into football. I don't care about Notre Dame, but I love that movie. And that's who you make the movie for. You don't make the movie for basketball fans or football fans or Notre Dame fans. You make it so it's relatable to anybody.
Yeah, and speaking of what I talked to you about, Billy Bob Thornton was recently in Indianapolis, the song with David Anspall and whatnot. But he has a great affinity for the movie Hoosiers, but it's not because of the basketball like we talked about. It's the things within that, and he really draws upon that and has used it a lot in his characters.
Yes, he did. In Goliath, he refers to Hoosiers all the time. One of the things that's personal to Billy Bob is his dad was a coach, a high school coach in a small town in rural Arkansas. So it hit home. It hits home for him.
And as an artist, I know that you relish the opportunity to take your skills and what you do and mold it into this movie that you're working on. I know that the artists are always looking for that next great challenge. And is this something you look at that people may think of sports movies when they think of you, but it's not about the sport. Are you looking forward to using this as a platform of really stretching things out?
No, I don't think of it that way. I respond to when people come to me with ideas or stories. I respond to them like I would imagine myself in an audience watching the movie. Would I want to watch this movie? Would this interest me? And ultimately, I don't think of myself as an artist or a reader. I consider myself first and foremost a storyteller. My job is to tell a great story. And sometimes just, I test run stories to get a feel for them before I start writing them. For example, if we had the time, I would sit down or I would give you a 10-minute version of the script I'm writing now, which is a coming of age story set against the Civil War. And when I say test market it, if we were in person, I would know where the story was flagging, whether you were interested, and ultimately whether you would care about what happens next. That's the most critical thing, is to get an audience, whether they're reading the script or watching the movie, to buy in or connect to the protagonist, the hero, and really care whether they succeed or fail. And when they fail, you feel the pain, and when they succeed, you feel the joy. So that's the art and craft of storytelling, and that's what I do.
And obviously, the setting is going to be real. The time everything occurred that the movie is going to be about. Is the story fictional, or is there truth to the story?
Well, it's inspired by a lot of different stories. So the person who brought this original idea to this director, who shall go unnamed at this moment, is a former fireman in Manhattan, and he came across all these stories about heroic anecdotes, heroic deeds of fire horses, and he thought, well, no one's made a movie about fire horses. And one of the interesting kind of side notes about horses and fire is horses are trying to have built into their DNA to run away from fire. So it takes like 2 or 3 years at special academies to train these horses to run into fire. And that's part of the storytelling too. It's how a boy and his horse. I guess you could describe this as a boy and his horse story, but how he trains the horse and then becomes a fireman and connected to this horse and some of the things that they go through.
And a lot of your movies obviously were ideas that you came up with. They were true stories, but you reached out and grabbed those. What's it like when someone else brings an idea to you and you have to flesh out what their idea is?
Well, first of all, Hoosiers was my idea. Rudy was not. Rudy, remember, it came with full-on assault to both David and I, and we turned it down for 2 years. So that was definitely not my idea. And I would say that the majority, 90% of the scripts I write are not my ideas. And part is just practical, because when people come to me with their stories and their ideas, they have a checkbook attached, or I won't listen to them, because that's how I make a living. I'm a writer for hire, and it's a marriage of who I am as a craftsman, who I am as a person. Does this story touch me emotionally? Does it mean something? Do I connect to it based on my own experiences? I've heard a lot of great stories, but they're just not for me. So, it just takes the right combination. It takes the right combination of personalities and artists too. I mean, I want to work with the best people. And I've been burned when I've said yes to a story, but yet the people behind who come to me with a story are a little shaky. So.
And I love these types of movies. They're historical. They're storytelling. As you said, you're telling a story, and I love those. But the amount of research that has to go in, especially to a period piece, has got to be unbelievable.
Yes. Well, I find that part of it fun, and one of the things that we did that I've been involved in this now for about a year, and we put together. Illustrated what they call a sizzle reel, a 15-minute presentation to, that we wanted to do for the director, that the director asked for. And I helped write that little script for the 15-minute film. And it kind of lays everything out, what it's going to be, so everybody knows that we're all on the same page, making the same movie. And a lot of research went into that. And as I said, it was great, going to old houses in New York City and doing that research.
Now, and when you're up there and you're on location, how difficult is it to make a period piece movie, but a movie like in a city like New York?
Well, I think that the big change over the last years, I don't know how you would call it, I would say just a very brief example. In Rudy, we were totally dependent on the kindness of the band to give us 7 minutes in the halftime of the Boston College Notre Dame game in 1993, so we could shoot Rudy coming out of the field, making the tackle, etc. Today, we wouldn't have to do that because of computer graphics imagery, CGI. You can do everything and put all the people in the seats. You just shoot and it doesn't cost very much money. I directed a movie I wrote called My All American 3 years ago, and it was about the 1969 Texas football team. And we shot 17 days of football in empty stadiums and filled them with computer people. And I challenge anybody to actually point out any kind of mistakes were made or any image that doesn't look real. So in answer to your question about how to do those kind of things, I mean, look at Game of Thrones. I mean, the tremendous amount of CGI and computer imagery will help make $100 million movie a $40 million movie. So all you need is a certain area and location to lock it down, and then you can build around it in the computer.
And do you think being able to do that makes the movies better because you have a lot more control and a lot less pressure on things not going well?
Oh, absolutely. We were completely dependent on, for example, getting back to Rudy, we had 2 days slotted, and we had 7 minutes in the halftime of two games. One was Boston College, the other was Penn State. Well, we shot. We got not all of our stuff on the first game, Boston College, and the second game, Penn State. We had all the cameras there, and it snowed 2 feet. That morning, it would be impossible to shoot, and we would have been without a movie. So yeah, it's a lot better now for filmmakers.
Are you guys in production with the movie yet?
No, I haven't written the script.
Oh,
it can't be in production. I said I'm about to launch into writing the script sometime in the next month. I have to finish the one I'm doing. And as I said, the research is complete on this Horses movie, Horses of Fire movie. And I'll probably be finished sometime in October or November.
And then after that goes into, how long till the movie goes into production and till the end result?
Probably, likely in the summer of 2020.
It's amazing how long it takes from start to finish a major motion picture takes. It's so
true.
much that goes into it.
It's true.
I mean,
Takes
these
forever.
These are years long processes, and some much longer than others. But it's also a part of the lives of the people like you who are involved, and maybe no more than you because you're the writer. You're there from the impetus of it, and you'll be there for the very end of it. It takes a large chunk of a person's life to be involved in those things.
It does, but it's been worth it, and everybody who wants an opportunity to get a shot at making a movie, for someone to pay me to write a script, it's not much compared to the overall budget of a film. So I've written 35 scripts and 4 of them have gotten made. And those are pretty, I mean, I'm fortunate that I've gotten 4 made because movies are really, really expensive. And, there's just a finite number of people who can do them in terms of directors and actors and finances. So it's just one of those things that we're all working for the same thing in the film business to get a green light to get a movie going. So you try to create the opportunity to best serve that goal. At the same time, what creates sanity for me and other people who work in the business is not to put all your marbles into one project. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on like 8 different projects at a different time. So I've got a lot of, to use another metaphor, irons in the fire.
Yes.
And you have to, yeah. So I actually have a Iowa girls basketball movie that I wrote a while ago that I'm trying to get going and in active talks about that one too.
Wow. Hoosiers was made in the mid-'80s. How has the movie picture changed? Obviously, we talked about CGI. Other than that, what are the biggest changes in making a movie? Because that was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, the truth is certain things have gotten simpler because you shoot on digital rather than film. Film is much trickier and it's too volatile and not as controllable. But and expensive. You can shoot digital and it doesn't cost anything, relatively speaking. But the basics of filmmaking haven't changed since the silent films. It still comes down to great characters, great stories, people you care about. And if I were to go back and do Hoosiers again, I don't think we would. David and I probably wouldn't do it much differently because it worked. I would also say the movie probably would look sharper and probably look a little better just because of the tools we have right now. But the biggest difference is the cost. So Hoosiers cost about $6 million. Well, we couldn't even get near that. And I would say dollars today would be closer to 18 or 19. But to get that look and to get that production value, it was easier to raise $6 million in 1985 when we shot the movie than it would be to raise $30 million to shoot that movie today.
That was early in your career, obviously. What's it like hitting a home run right in your first plate appearance? Because that's a daggone home run, man. That's never going to change.
Well, it was the first script I ever wrote, and I had worked in the business as an executive. I supervised production of television movies and feature films for Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox and 2 other companies for 6 years out of film school. So I learned how to make movies and got to learn from the best, watch the best, and to get the first script I wrote up, made, and be successful. It was a career changer and a life changer, and it was very unusual. And yeah, I was stunned. When David and I finished the first cut of the film, and the Ryan people. I'll go back even when we finished the last day of production in Indiana. We looked at each other and we said, we probably ended our careers. This probably will turn out to be terrible. and then we showed the Orion people the first cut of our film, which was about 2 hours and 45 minutes, 45 minutes longer than it is now. And they just said it was unreleasable. And they even said it was unreleasable at 2 hours and 25 minutes. But we got an opportunity to test market it in Irvine, California, and we scored the highest score that they had in the last 10 years, and it changed their minds about it. So we were always in a precarious position with that film, not knowing whether it was going to destroy our careers or make it into the big screen to the big screens or not. So it was a big surprise all the way up and down the line. If you're ever working deep into a creative project, you really never know. You don't have any objectivity. I feel that way after every script I've finished and I hand it over. I don't know whether it's just horrible or it's great or anything between. I have no objectivity, none.
And the thing that amazes me most about Hoosiers is it is so timeless that it is just as relevant today. It's just as liked today, if not more. It's just as people want to watch it just as much as they did 30 years ago, or actually maybe even more. But it's unusual to see a movie continue to either grow or sustain its popularity, and this one has. And that's magic in a bottle.
Yeah, and Rudy even more so. In this way, and I'll talk about Hoosiers in a second. But I was just commenting on USA did a top football movies poll, which was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It was around 2000, and Rudy was I think it barely broke the top 20. It was like number 18, and we didn't get tremendous. I mean, we're probably, if they did the Rotten Tomatoes, we're probably about 60% Rotten Tomatoes. And then they just did the same poll, best football movies this fall, and Rudy was number 1. So it's like, how does that happen? Yeah, it has grown over the years in terms of its reputation. Now, as far as Hoosiers, we had one advantage in terms of its sustainability, and that is we made it a period film. So when you make a movie that's contemporary, I was just thinking about this, Top Gun. If you go back and look at Top Gun, which I loved when it came out, it feels so dated. The music, the hair, it's like, oh my gosh, it's weird. It just it doesn't work for me. It didn't. But the fact that Hoosiers was set in the past, it doesn't date us in the same way.
Right, and it's there's a movie like one of my other favorite movies, The Big Lebowski. When that thing came out, it was a flop, but it just gained its traction and continued to gain traction, and it's just as popular now, more so than it ever was.
That's true.
Indiana basketball, you're a huge fan. You're a Hoosier. Are you following what's going on in the land of Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a chance. You get to go to a lot of games during the season as long as you're in town, not working on a project, right?
I don't miss a game. We have tickets, right there next to Mellencamp, 5 rows from the floor. So I mean, I'll fly back from a research trip to make sure I get to a game that matters. I'm all in.
Well, hopefully we're going to see you.
I'm bullish on this season. I know a lot of people can make the argument for and against, how we're going to turn out. Now, having said that, I'm always kind of bullish. They called me the glass not half full when it comes to Indiana sports, but the glass 3/4 full. And but I just had a sense, and the two things that were problematic for the team last year. One, I witnessed, and I was just right there. I've seen enough basketball games that I can make this comment. And that was chemistry. The chemistry was just off with that team, in part because of the injuries. There were just so many different multiple lineups because so many kids were getting hurt. The second thing is the kind of unusual presence of of a top 5 high school player, one and done. And I love Romeo, great kid, great player, but he never quite found his role. And I think that there were too often the team would defer to him, and they never quite got into a flow state where the best teams do. I'm thinking about how Virginia got into that flow state, and it was a combination of the players that just wasn't working. And I think when you have your two guys like Juwan and Romeo being 3/4 of your scoring, if either one of them has a bad game, then you're in trouble. I think this year's team will have much more balance. I'm sure it will, and I just think they're more evenly matched in terms of their skill sets. And I don't know, because it's a whole new group of people. Not a whole new group, but it's definitely a different group of people. How they'll all gel or not gel, but I'm very hopeful.
If you don't think
I
Angelo
think
knows
also
his basketball,
to add one more thing. Archie is a guy who is a defense-driven team. He's and if you look at the coaching record of defense-first teams like Jay Wright at Villanova or Tony Bennett at Virginia, they kind of struggled to install their system, to get the right kids to fit their system in their first 2 years. Now, this is Archie's 3rd year. I think he has more of his kids than ever before. And the ones that are still there played his system for 2 years. I just think that in normally these kind of situations, you start to see success and in these defense first teams. So I'm hopeful.
If you don't think Angelo knows his basketball, I'd just put that to bed. They should hire you as a biographer because you just laid it out. I mean, that was I agree with.
I care, and I'm looking at the bright side and the hopeful side of things. I don't think that Indiana will be the most talented team in the Big Ten. Probably not even the top half of the Big Ten. But it's all how they work together. It always is. I mean, you look at. I mean, I've seen enough high school basketball teams. Well, obviously the perfect example is Milan. These are 5 kids who played together since they were in 1st grade, and by the time they were like a machine. And, they had what you call the ultimate chemistry. They didn't have the most talented kids. Obviously, the tallest guy was 6'1". So, and they beat Christmas Addicts and Oscar Robertson. It wasn't, they had a cakewalk to the state finals in Muncie Central. So, yeah, gel chemistry is huge and it's indefinable. People see it in different ways, but I feel it out there. And I saw teams that came into Assembly Hall that really gelled and worked together. That's one of the things that Matt Painter has done successfully at Purdue. He's got his kids to really defer and play with each other, find out their roles, stick to their roles, and their teams, and all successful team are a greater sum of the parts. And Indiana wasn't that last year, and they will be, I am positive, this year.
I love talking basketball with Angelo. He always brings it back around the way it should be, man. I hope you enjoy your time in New York and get all the creative juices flowing, because I cannot wait for this movie. Is there a name of it yet?
Horses of Fire.
Horses of Fire. Be looking for that in the summer of 2020.
It'll be made in 2020. Probably won't come out until 2021.
It's amazing. It's amazing stuff so far in the future. Angelo, I can't thank you enough, man. I look forward to you getting back and talking some more basketball and just hanging out at some point. But, man, I appreciate you so much, Angelo. Have a great rest of your day in New York, man.
Thank you. All right. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Angelo Pizzo joining us so gracefully. We are so happy to have him. Hey, we've got a lot more coming up here. The little time we've got left. Scott Agness is going to join us. We're back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle back after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett. Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Bless my heart and bless yours too.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle with you as always. Special great guest. Well, we just got off with Angelo Pizzo from Hoosiers, and following it up with another one, Maurice Creek. Mo, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. What's it like being back over on this side of the pond, man? You've been over on the other side for quite a while.
Feels great.
I know you got a lot going on tonight. You're going to be playing, and you're going to be on ESPN. Tell me what's going on with that.
Right now we having a team shoot around at 10:15, and I'm in Wichita, Kansas right now for our region. And, it's just doing the TBT tournament for a good cause. Bought a lot of guys, a lot of my guys that I played with. Remy Abel played with him in Indiana, and Aaron Nowako. I played with him in Ukraine last year, and I bought another guy with me, Eric Thompson. I played with him in Germany. So just bringing guys together that give us the opportunity to win this thing, and we feel like a family already, which is kind of crazy because we only knew each other for a couple of days, but it's just the chemistry that we have right now just feels great.
Have you played in the TBT before?
Yeah, I played in it last year. Unfortunately, we lost in the first game, and it hurt. So this year we try to re-up on talent and people who actually understand the game better than what we had last year. But it's actually great, the people that we have this year, because I feel like, we can actually get this thing done.
And the TBT has gained traction. I mean, it's fun to tournament to watch, and you get to see a lot of people get to see some of their former alumni. And I know you guys are playing against a team from Kansas. You've got some IU guys on there, but it's not a complete IU team. But it's a cool thing for the fans, and it's fun basketball.
Yeah, I mean, TBT, when you're talking about $2 million on the line, they bring their best people out, and that's what we try to do. And I know Kansas brought their guys also. That's what they try to do too. So we got a tough matchup tonight, but we're going to see what's going to happen with that.
Are there any other IU guys playing this? I know that I think that Jordan Halls and Sheehy, those guys have played in this before.
I don't think they're in it this year, but I think just right now, all I know is Remy with me.
Cool. And so, and the format of the tournament, where are you guys playing? Where are you tonight? Where's the game being played tonight?
Yeah, we're in Coke Arena tonight, down at Wichita State.
Now
so it's at Wichita State, Kansas. Main gym tonight at I'm not sure what time it would be for Indiana fans, but I know we are an hour ahead of Eastern time right now. So we would be playing at 6 o'clock, but in Eastern time it would be 7 o'clock. So I don't know what time the game will be on for Indiana fans, because y'all Midwest, right?
Right. It should be on at 7, I think. Everybody should be on East Coast time on ESPN.
Okay. So the game will be on ESPN tonight. Check it out. I'll be up there. It'll be great for everybody to see this. See the work that all of us put in, not just me, but Remy and all the guys that have been playing. You might catch a couple of guys who are Hoosiers way back when. We just don't know that they're on a different team.
Now, you're playing a Kansas team. Who's on that team? Anyone that the fans may know?
Oh, yeah. They got a lot of talent. Tyshawn Taylor. They got Darrell Arthur, who played in the NBA. They got Elijah Johnson, who's a great guard. They got a lot of talent. Perry Ellis, who was a real good high school player, and he played at Kansas really good. And they really brought their main team out here. They got Mario Chalmers, who played in the NBA champion. So this is gonna be a tough matchup tonight.
It's some serious basketball, but it's fun to watch. The TBT has really grown, but it's mainly because there's a lot of names from the past, but it comes down to good basketball. If the basketball's not good, people aren't going to watch, and they watch. It is really good, fun basketball.
Correct. Like I said, I played in it last year, so I know how tough it is just to win this thing. And we played against Iona last year, and they had bought all their hitters out, and it was tough for us because they were hitting everything. So it comes down to it being just a great league. You talked about every team. Every team brings their best players out. It's not no slouch at all, and the plays that you take off might be the plays that kill you. So, for us, I just feel like we just definitely about to focus up and, take it one game at a time and see where we go at.
Maurice Creek, I can't thank you enough, man. We always appreciate you joining us. You've always been so gracious with your time. We wish you the best of luck. Make sure, Hoosier fans, you check him out tonight on ESPN. He's in the TBT. Let's get a win tonight, man. We're going to be following you. If you guys can keep going, we'll get you on. We keep doing this. It may be good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You bet. Maurice Creek, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Maurice Creek joining us here on the program. It's going to wrap it up. What a great show today. Angelo Pizzo was on as well. Look forward to doing it more again tomorrow. Scott Agness was going to be with us. We're going to have him on tomorrow. Angelo was always so good. We look forward to that. But thanks a lot to everybody. We appreciate you, Jake. For Jake, it's Jim Coyle from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat tomorrow. Until then, I will see you on the radio.